because we make time to lay out and relax and chill and self-care, right? And I think that's a form of self-care. When
Yes.
you're taking care of, you're watering your dreams and your goals, you're watering it. That is self-care.
I'm Kelli.
And I'm Danni.
Welcome back to the ProCreatives Podcast for moms who make things.
The podcast for moms and future moms who are navigating their creative careers as they raise their little inspiration.
Ooh, and baby, let me tell you, I cannot believe it is a wrap on season 3.
Yes, it is.
Cue the air horns because we did we did that. We did that. And we had so many. Oh, I can't say enough about it. Go ahead, girl.
This season was incredible. We say this all the time. And listen, we're going to always hype up moms, okay? So it's always going to be incredible. It's always going to be great. And it's not we being disingenuous. We just say moms are incredible.
Yeah, period.
Just, there you go, period, right? We had so many amazing mom guests, from filmmakers to journalists to productivity coaches, comedians. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Comedians are moms too, guys. All navigating motherhood and their passions. And it's such a beautiful thing to see.
It really is. So inspiring, so encouraging. Just, you know what? Let's just get into this recap episode of
Let's
season
hop
3.
into it.
So, this year we had a bit of a delay, but I will say when we got off, when we hit the ground running. And I feel like all of the guests that we had and even the conversations that you and I just had were stemming from our experiences, our life, and also what our guests were saying. I think it's so funny that when our guests are sharing their experience, it makes the world a little bit smaller because we realize that we're not the only ones going through. So a memorable moment for me, what I think about is Haria. She told this story about how her wife was like very serious about making sure the lawn looked great.
Oh yeah, the lawn.
And that the lawn has to look great. There can't be any weeds or anything like that. And they went for a walk around the neighborhood, and this lawn that looked so pristine, when you got up close to it, there's weeds. And she used that as an analogy to just say, everybody has their stuff. You may not be able to see it, but that's kind of why we need to be gracious, and we need to just not compare. We need to just kind of just stay in our own lane and really focus on our own lawn, because someone else is dealing with whatever they got. Even if they have the same, weeds like you do, they have their own brand of weeds. There's lots of different types of weeds that grow.
Okay.
Exactly. So, that was a moment for me, just like, wow, how often we focus sometimes on other people's stuff, even other people's mothering, like how other people mother.
Yes.
Motherhood is one of those things to me where it's like it could easily be heavily criticized. And I think that's why we've got to be gracious with each other, because you know what? You have to do what works best for your family, and I have to do what works best for my family.
That's right.
And we can't make comparisons because our situations are similar, right? We're a lot more similar than different, but we're still different.
Exactly. And, perspective is also a thing. Like, you said, they were looking at the law and comparing it, right? From afar off, everything looked right. But when you come up close, you see the truth.
So, Danielle, what was a memorable moment or an episode for this season that stood out to you?
There were quite a few. I think we always find something that talks to us within each episode. But I think Coca's vulnerability stood out. And I think because of the image, I think a lot of times I think a lot. Did y'all know that? But anyway, Coca provided this view that she showed you that she is human. And when a lot of times when you see these actors and these performers, these filmmakers, you see them in their role, you tend to think this is who they are wholly, solely.
Yeah.
But they are so much more. They are still people. They still have things that they're dealing with. They're still facing the challenges. She still got to tell her son to clean his room. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was the vulnerability for me to see her in that role and just talk about her son and her mom and her influences.
Mm.
It was a beautiful thing to see her in that space. And then also later on, I saw her, I went to see her perform live, and listen, she kicked butt. Okay. And she was hustling. She did her job. And then afterwards she had like t-shirts. She was selling things. I was like, look at her. Look at this. That they say the diva is the what? The female version of a
Of a
hustler. She was
hustler.
over there hustling. Listen, I said, all right, Coke. I tried to say hi. She was like, hi, you want a picture? And she was just going with the motions, right? Um, but it was just such a beautiful thing to see and see her so multifaceted. So I really appreciated that, getting
Yeah.
the insight to that. Thanks, Coca. Thanks for being on the podcast and showing us that side of you.
Yeah, we're truly grateful for all of our guests that say yes to being in this space.
Yeah.
It really is a blessing. Like it's a gift. We have these conversations first, and they're always so super encouraging. So we know that
Mm,
our audience is really going to be encouraged and inspired by their stories too.
yeah.
I love Coca's episode also. I really enjoyed all of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, listening
Yes.
back, I'm like, "Ooh, this one hit. This hit different."
Gems.
Um,
Yes.
but yeah, I think that it's so great for me to be in the moment in the conversation, but then to go back and listen, I always end up
Yes.
catching something different. Something that
Mhm.
Christina Garrett said on her episode was, "It's working. Look for how."
Mm.
And I remember like taking off in that moment, like I just wanted to run because I think sometimes we're so much in the thick of it
Yeah.
that we're looking, and sometimes we're in the thick of it, but we're looking for the things that are not going right,
Right, right, right.
for the things that are going wrong. We're looking for the
Right,
things
right,
that
right.
are going wrong instead of
Mhm,
taking a
mhm.
step back and going, what worked, you know,
Yeah.
and how
Right.
can I keep improving on that? How can I focus on what worked and keep doing that? So it's working. She said, and look for how it's working.
Mhm.
I'm in the midst of event planning. And so really reflecting on, okay, what worked with the last event? What was really successful? What do people really enjoy? And how can we
Yes.
make that the heart of the event going forward?
I
Um,
like that.
and then something else she said is God gives you the vision, right? But
Mhm.
it's your name on the invoice. That was another running moment. Like, okay, the Lord's, God's instructing us and telling us what to do, showing us, giving us the vision, but we have to act on it. And we know we
Right.
don't see that in invoice. You know what I mean? So just
Mm.
putting it in perspective, like the opportunities are coming, you have to work them. The vision is
Yes.
there, you have to work it.
Yes. And that ties into what Moon said. Moon was like, listen, make the time. Like she was definitely talking to me. And
Yeah.
I was, well, she was in my business. Make the time, read the book, do the thing, take the time out, make the time to hone that skill. Right.
Yeah.
You have that gift, you want to do this, take the time. She was talking about writing. So you have like, give yourself, carve out a half hour, you're going to write, get up earlier, discipline yourself and make the time within your day. Because she was not she didn't like say, okay, I'm not acknowledging that this thing is real, that motherhood is exhausting. She was acknowledging that, but
Yeah.
she also said you can, there's so much time in the day and you can make time for that. Now it's not to say beat yourself up, but it's also to say discipline yourself and
Yeah.
you know because we make time to lay out and relax and chill and self-care, right? And I think that's a form of self-care when
Yes.
you're taking care of, you're watering your dreams and your goals, you're watering it. That is self-care. So,
Yeah.
shout out to Moon for that tidbit, for that correction.
That
And
was it was
love.
it was a gentle rebuke. It was do the things, and Moon talked about navigating a neurodivergent child and all of that it takes, and having to learn lessons with him,
Yeah.
learn lessons with
Yeah.
him, and also model the lessons. Like, I want you to be disciplined, even though you have, you're neurodivergent. That doesn't mean that it's a wrap on your goals.
Right.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
Let's get it is really
Yeah.
what her framework was. And I thought that
Yeah.
was so beautiful because sometimes we can
Yes.
coddle our child. I think about
Mhm.
Finding Nemo. right?
Right,
You know,
right.
the son had that one little
A fin, yeah.
fin, and he was like, "No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that."
No,
And it's like, actually,
I can
I
and I will.
can.
And he
And
did.
did. And did. Now, as a
Yeah.
parent, now that whole movie was making me anxious. I'm not even gonna lie. You better get your butt back home to where the part of the ocean you came from. But,
Okay.
but on the other
Yeah.
side of that, as a parent, it's like you have
Yeah.
to let your child
You
navigate
saw that.
life.
Hmm.
You the trust that you gave them the tools. And sometimes it's
Yes.
hard. We were like, did I actually really give them the tools? Then you realize you actually did give them the tools
Yeah.
to navigate life, and you led by example. And to me, sometimes that's the strongest way, right? Not just teaching. And you know this working
Yeah.
in education, right? It's not just
Yeah.
teaching, right? But you also have to model, like, here's an example of how we do this
Yes.
so that they can get it in their systems too. So I thought it was really cool, Moon, just kind of breaking that down. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
She told us, she's like, listen, ain't no excuses.
Yeah. That's it. Listen, and when she went Denzel mode on it, I mean, I felt like
Yeah, she was like,
Denzel in a
do you want it or do you not? That's really what I was like,
period.
oh, oh. Yeah.
Very good.
And then, but
Um,
Shanna was also like an example of that, right?
true,
Shanna
true,
was
true.
like, listen, I know what I want. I know what I need. And think once again, the village comes up again. She had people who could, who supported her, in helping her with her daughter. But she was like, listen, and during the episode when we were taping, she was talking about getting funding, waiting on funding for her project. And she was still moving forward. She was like, "Listen, the cast had my back, and they were willing to wait along, and they supported the vision. That's great. Kudos to having such a supported crew." And but she was just talking about the challenges, but not, and she wasn't quitting. She was like, "Yeah, it's gonna. Sometimes it's like this, and it's frustrating." But she was so determined, and thankfully, she was able to get everything she needed and pay everybody, and then look at her out here shining on the carpets. You saw her. You
Yes.
guys need to run over to her social media, see how they're looking fabulous.
Yes. So, so proud. And it feels good when you see other moms win.
Yeah,
Um, and, you know, our podcast is focused on inspiring and encouraging moms to pursue their creative goals, their
yes.
passions.
Hmm.
Um, and so when we see other moms doing that, because we know how hard it is to
Yeah.
really do the
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
it just fills up our tanks. It's like an extra
Yeah.
boost. Like, okay,
Hmm.
I could do this
Yeah.
too. I could do
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, seeing these ladies really, all three of them, all of them had a really
Yeah.
monumental year. Coca Brown, she's going to be starring with Tia Mowry and
Yes.
Ronrico Lee in a Very Merry Beauty Salon on Lifetime. So
Nice. Would
excited
love to
about
see them
that.
back together,
Come
Tia
on,
and
Tyree.
Tyreek.
Sister, the real ones know. Sister. The real ones know. Shanna had her series, coming out
Yeah.
on YouTube weekly. The same, Haria has had an incredible year with her film Chocolate with
Yes,
Sprinkles. Same
sprinkles.
with Moon. She has had her project doing well on the film festival
Oh,
circuit.
yes. And
Christina
Christina
just
had her
had
event.
her
Yes.
incredible event for the Momathon movement.
Mhm. And
This year,
Brooklyn
Brooklyn, okay, she got to
pivot.
interview Beyonce.
Listen, the pivot is such a beautiful thing. Like when you speak to her, like I'm not to cut you in between.
No,
I
no,
just
no,
wanted
you're
to
good.
mention that Brooklyn came onto the podcast very like just I don't want to say humble, but just normal, very chill. And
Yes.
like, and then she would talk, we mentioned some of her, we tend to, we read the bios and we mentioned some of the people that she's interviewed and interacted with. And she was just like, yeah, but we're over here like, wow. And she's like, yeah, but
And she's like, she said too, like, she still can't believe that that happened, and
yeah,
still
yeah,
in
yeah.
awe of the opportunities that she has gotten and will get. Come
Yes,
on.
yes. And
Um,
very, very professional. But her pivot from, interviewing, so, great big names, but also now she's writing about motherhood and pets and well, about,
yeah.
and it's just a beautiful thing to see her and embrace that. Obviously, it's not going to take away from her doing other things as well, but it also shows that you don't have to just be one thing. You can still be a mother in your thing that you're doing, right? And that's what
Yeah.
I take away from that. And it's just, she also talked about her village as well, getting that
Yes.
support. And just really acknowledging when you need help and speaking up, and letting people know that you need them there. And it was
Yeah.
all around nice, just lovely to see all the ladies doing amazing things.
And to go back to Brooklyn, because she shared this story, definitely please check out the episodes because there were so many beautiful, beautiful moments. We can't even share all of them or we'll be sitting here for
Right.
2 hours. Um, but she shared a story about how her family, I mean, she really elevated her family in a
Yes.
big way.
It was
Um,
beautiful.
giving them flowers, literally. I
Yeah.
mean, I was like, I want to meet these people because they're incredible, you know? Um, but she talked about how her aunt stood in the gap for her. And,
Yeah.
she was supposed to drop off her daughter to go visit them a few hours away. And Brooklyn
Mhm.
said there was a series of incidents and she wasn't able to do it. And she wasn't answering her phone and her aunt was trying to call her and she didn't want to pick up the phone. And her aunt said, call me. I'm already on my way to get her.
Yes.
And,
Mhm.
for me, the village showing up like that, but then
Yeah.
also her recognizing, you know what, like it's okay to need people, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it yes, there's going to be moments we want to be people of our word. And sometimes that's tough because there's circumstances that we can't
Mhm.
control.
Mhm.
Um, but I love that the people who know us, they have grace
Yeah.
for us
Yeah.
and they stand with us and
Yes.
they understand
Yes.
us. And sometimes
Mhm.
we don't recognize that. I know for myself, I'm like, I'm gonna figure it out by myself. I'm gonna figure it out, I'm gonna make it
Yeah.
happen. And
Mhm.
and it just kind of made me feel like, you know what? Where am I missing opportunities to lean on my community? Where my
Yes.
community might want to actually support me, but they don't know
Yes.
how.
Yes, and she mentioned that. She said, "Let them in. Those people
Yeah.
that, and yes, we're right now we're in this culture where people are like, oh, well, people have to act directly for what they want. Let's be realistic, right? We have a lot of unspoken communication. Everything that we do and the communication that we have with others is not always through the use of words, right? And sometimes we just, especially as moms, we can't articulate it sometimes because we don't even know. Sometimes you just don't know where you are. And then, like Kelly
Mhm.
was saying, we're a lot alike in that, like, we try to deal with the things ourselves, right? That hyper independence. So it is what it is. It's the truth.
Period. Yeah, this
But
is
she was saying that there are people that genuinely care and that they're able to help you, and you don't have to do it on your own. It's gonna take some work, but to get out of that that habit. But it's important to make sure that because they want to be there for you, and if they're showing up for you, why are you saying no? Just say thank you.
yeah, just say thank you and, show
Yeah,
gratitude and then
yeah,
return it. Return it. I think,
yeah,
that's the great thing that we could do is be grateful and also because I think Moon also touched on that too. Like,
mm.
yes, I want you to babysit my kid, but I'm not going to abuse that. I mean, how can
Right,
I
right, right,
also
right.
support you?
I love
How can I
that.
also
Yeah,
be
yeah,
there for
yeah,
you? And
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
having a one-sided relationship where
Wanting
it's
to
just
make sure
take,
that,
take, take,
yeah,
but it's
yeah,
also
showing
give, give, give.
gratitude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's so many beautiful moments, things
Yeah,
that just make me think a little bit more deeply. And even our conversations about, motherhood and a lot of folks are like not wanting to have
right.
kids. And I think that's okay too. Sometimes we can be
Yeah, it
super
is.
judgmental about so many different aspects of motherhood. And a couple of our guests actually touched on the fact that they felt really judged. They felt shame, you
Yeah.
know, um, and we're here to crush that. This is not a
Oh yeah.
space that we do that.
Nope.
Everyone's journey is so different. And that's part of the
Yes.
reason why we have this podcast too, is to show that even though there's differences, there's still common threads that tie us
Yeah.
together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that we should be unified and connected as opposed to just pushing and
Yeah.
shunning other people for the decisions that they make regarding motherhood, whether that is to
Yeah.
have kids or whether that is to choose not to have kids. That's
Right.
optional.
Yeah.
um, thing. And I think we should all be able to make those decisions without the pressure of society saying, this is what. So that came up in our conversations this season
Yeah.
too. Um,
Yeah, just
and
showing understanding
yeah,
for the journey of motherhood. Like, so for so long, so much has gone unspoken. A lot of moms
yeah,
suffering in silence. And even though with the new information that's trending here, I also have to remember that my For You page may not look like somebody else's For You page, right? So while my For You page is full of like supportive content for motherhood and Black love and all those things, uh, not everybody has that. So we're putting this out here just to reach out to those spaces where they're forgetting and they're feeling lost. So yeah, you can go through all of our seasons, as we said, this is not a space for judgment. We really want to show that this motherhood things are happening. There's postpartum depression. There's issues with medical profession, like just being more understanding about your body and what you need. All those things is very important, and we're here to tell you we see you, and we're going to offer any tips and tricks, any kind of tidbits to help support you in this journey.
yes, that's what we're here for. That is 100% what we're here for. I feel like I've
Mhm.
grown a lot this year. I feel like I've been challenged by our
Mm.
guest. I feel like I've been, challenged personally, professionally, creatively, listening to the stories and the journeys that our guests and even ourselves have been on. This year has
Yeah.
been extremely, it's been a lot. It's
It's
been
been a
a
lot.
lot.
Yeah, I've been on the edge quite a bit and
Yes.
just concerned about what's around the corner, which doesn't sound great, but trying not to be anxious, just trying to be more in the present and not worrying about tomorrow, right? Just
Yeah.
being more concerned about what I can do today to show up for today. And yeah, there's been a lot of great growth, and
Yeah,
also
for sure.
it's been challenging.
It's been
Definitely getting
challenging.
stretched mentally, and being back in school has reminded me once again, like motherhood, that your limits, what you thought was your limit, apparently you have a little bit more, which is a little crazy. But also, it just goes to show that the strength that you have. But it's been definitely challenging. But here
Yeah.
we are. We're coming down to the end. Oh.
Yeah. You know what I feel about this year? And while I was, navigating grief, I had a few deaths in my family this year. And I realized I started at the top of the year saying, I want to just focus on the things that I have to do. And slowly I started incorporating other people's things.
Mhm.
And I realized mid-year, I was like, oh my gosh, I had a moment trying to help navigate like my family's, funeral services and all this stuff. And I'm like feeling stressed. And I remember sitting back and having a conversation with the Lord, honestly, and Him saying,
Mm.
again, you don't have to be everything to everyone. You cannot do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And after that, it was like something clicked back on in me to the promise I made to myself at the top of the year, which is I'm going to really focus on the things that I want to get done. And I had to let some things go, a conversation where it's like, I can no longer do this. Um,
Yeah.
I know that at some moments I did not feel completely valued, to be honest. But I give 110%.
The thing about it is when we're doing that kind of service, we tend to find value in our work, in the things that we're doing for people. And I think sometimes it's a like a trauma response. We're trying to
Mm,
heal ourselves by being that for someone that we wanted someone to be for us.
yeah,
Right? So we're overextending ourselves and reaching out and doing all these multiple, and that's definitely been a theme also in my life. I won't say a theme, but it's been something that I've also had to deal with, recognizing that I cannot be everything to someone, and I am going to drop the ball. And then how am I going to feel about that?
yeah,
So you
yeah,
feel disappointed in yourself, but I also know that I had to be honest about my limits. I
Yeah.
cannot be someone's everything. That is just like I had somebody saying, "Oh, I wanted you to show up for me like this." Well, I was like, "I understand, but I told you I can show up for you in this capacity because you can't expect me to completely neglect my life and everything about me because you want me to be there for you. That's a little bit unfair, and it's a bit much. So that thing about value is a true thing because we tend to
Yeah.
find value in the work that we're doing for other people, and we are valuable. God has
Just
made
as we
us,
are.
yeah, He has made us valuable. We are value. He cherishes us, and yes, it's good to do work, and it's good to do good work. Um, but how are we doing good work within ourselves? Are we neglecting ourselves just to save everyone? Put on your mask first, baby.
Yeah. And so that was basically the journey of moments this year. And you realize you're empty. You've poured out everything to everybody else. Um,
Yeah.
how are you going to get yourself back? And so in that, it was just saying, hey,
Yeah.
grateful for my time here, got to go. And
I
and
love it.
reckon
Yeah.
and then after doing that, in so many different aspects, the clarity came, the
Yes.
refocus came. And so I'm grateful for that, but these conversations definitely help spur that on. So
Yeah.
truly, truly a gift. Let's get into some funny, behind the scenes. Obviously, I'm in one place, and Danielle's
Hmm.
in a completely different place. But we always have moments, whether it's with our
Yes.
guests, um,
With our
just
kids.
with our kids, just funny moments that happen off mic. So we're doing a hard pivot to just talk about
Oh,
some challenges that we face off mic or during production. So I guess we've kind of touched on it a little bit behind the scenes in our own lives, but things
yeah.
that might have happened off mic where people can't see.
Right. Well, I've had my daughter come in one day while we were recording. Maybe we could find it. And she left the bathroom door open. And I was like, girl, and I'm trying to like fan her off with my hand. And I'm looking like this, and I'm like, or I'll put the thing on mute and then I'll cover my mouth like this, like I'm coughing, but I'm not really coughing like saying, girl, get out of here. You know what I mean? But definitely, yeah. But we have children. We're living.
But
We're here. It is what it is. But
we have kids. We have kids, and we're used to it. So sometimes our guests are like, "Can you hear the baby crying?" My husband
yeah,
has her, but I'm
yeah.
like, "We don't hear anything." But
We
we
don't.
love seeing when the kids come in. One of our
Hmm.
guests, their daughter came in and
Yeah,
got to say hi.
yeah,
Just kind of around it. But we love seeing the kids. We love
yeah,
seeing that we recognize that those things happen. For
yeah.
me, my kids don't typically come in, but there was one moment we were recording an episode, and my daughter, I thought she had her key. She
She
didn't
did not.
have her key. And
We
so
were mid conversation. All of a
mid
sudden, I see,
conversation.
I see your thing go blank. I said, "Oh," and I was like, "Let me just keep the conversation flowing." And then,
And so I that happened. So on that end, they're seeing that my camera go off. On my
Mhm.
end, I tripped over a stool, hurt
Oh,
my leg.
real cartoon. Yeah, yeah.
A real cartoony scenario happening on my end.
Oh
Tripped
my
over the
god.
stool, hurt my leg, forgot my headphones were still attached to the laptop.
Oh
Oh,
no.
girl,
I'm
it
sorry.
was a mess.
Oh my
I
god.
had a bruise on my leg for about 5 days.
Oh
That
no. Oh
situation
my.
let her, and I was
I,
able to let her in. But there's the things that are happening behind the scenes that
yes.
the
We're we're
audience you
working
don't
hard.
know. But we're working hard, and even this year, having a snafu with a guest, like forgetting to
Mhm.
hit record,
Oh Lord, that was
forgetting to hit re-record, and
devastating.
it was a devastating moment. Truly, truly,
Listen.
truly.
And
Uh,
because we don't take anybody's time for granted. We were
Correct.
apologetic. We sent gifts. Um, but it also goes to show that we're
Yeah, we're
people.
people.
And but we have things in place and we're learning and we're growing. I know you guys have seen our Facebook page and our Instagram page. We are growing, we are learning new things. We're open to suggestions, we're open to topics. If you guys want to hear something on here, let us know. We're open for it. because we want to make sure that you feel seen and heard and all the things. Okay.
So, yeah, I second what Danielle said. If there's any dream guests or topics or anything that you
Mm,
want to hear, any conversations that you want to hear, we're excited to be able to, again, people saying yes to being on the podcast.
mm.
That's always just a blessing when people are like, yeah, I'm down. This is an amazing
Yeah.
space
Yeah.
to just recenter, refocus on our own passions. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So for the next season, oh, I don't know. We have our dream guests and our dream. We'll hop into it. Danielle, what are your
Yeah.
thoughts for the
We
future?
honestly, for the future, we would like to be in the same room on the same
Yeah.
time, right? And the same coast. I That's one of our dreams and goals, like, to be able to do, spend a few days together, record in the same space. That would be
Yeah.
ideal.
Yeah.
Get to hold her hand. Yes, Kelly. Can you hand her a tissue if she needs? No, but for real, but just be in the same space, provide that space, even with our guests, that would be
Yeah.
great. Uh, I think there's a different dynamic for that. And, we're making it work in a different coast, but that's one of my goals for us to be able to do, do together in the same room, chatting it up and all the things.
Yeah. I agree. The same for me. I think there's just a different energy when it's everyone together in the room.
Hmm. Hmm.
I love what we curate in this space. We always
Yeah.
have guests saying thank you.
Yes.
And that like gives the extra fuel, because it
Yes.
is
Yes.
sometimes exhausting preparing and
Yeah.
researching and
Yeah.
crafting and, making sure we have
Yeah.
everything ready for our guests. But to hear them say, I enjoyed this, I enjoyed the
Yeah.
conversation. Thank you. This was beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
gives us the fuel to keep going. So
Yeah.
keeping that, continuing to expand our audience is something that I'm excited for.
Yeah.
More people to see us, know us, and get more opportunities, not just for us, but for our audience too, to be able to
Yeah.
grow. I would love to partner with companies that help with
Yes.
productivity to
Yes.
be able to provide moms with services that can really help and encourage
Yeah.
them to pursue those things.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many, listen, the vision is big, y'all.
It is. It really is.
It's
And
big.
shout out to Kelly for all that she's been doing in social media, like all those graphics, you guys. She is a talented individual. Let me try. She's on top of me in my view, so I'm trying to and shout
You're
out
trying to
to
lift me up.
Tyler. Yeah, I'm lifting you up. And shout out to Tyler who does all our video and our sound. He's been doing great. The wonderful husband of Kellyanne Jordan. So
Yes. And I will say the husbands have come through. Our
they
intro
have,
music is
yes.
by Danielle's husband, Aaron. So he hooked
Yeah.
that up for us. So it takes a village, y'all, to make
It
this stuff
is. It
happen.
does.
Oh, we didn't say any dream guests or topics we want to cover.
You know what? Honestly, the dream guest, I don't really have anybody in mind because, like, I'm learning now with all the guests that we've had
Yeah.
that motherhood is motherhood, right? And
Mm.
yes, I want to hear about stories about other people and their impact and their influence and all the things. But I'm just eager to hear more stories, period. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not just looking to like pinpoint just one person. I just want to hear it all because everybody has a story to tell. And I feel like it's going to hit someone. So I'm really, that's my mindset. It's kind of like, who wants to come on? Come on, tell us.
Yes. I love that. I feel the same
Yeah.
way. Anyone, because we reached out to people and thankfully a lot of them have agreed and said yes, they'll be
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm so grateful for anybody who sits at the table and shares their story
Yeah.
because there's a vulnerability that comes from just saying, I'm gonna lay it out here.
Yes.
I'm gonna put myself out here for people to hear my story.
Yeah.
And there's a not everyone can say yes to an opportunity
Right.
like that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
well for various reasons.
Yeah.
I myself I've been challenged to to do that and now I'm in a place where I can. but I wasn't always in a place, listen, you grew up Caribbean, don't tell people them your business because,
Right.
so
Right. Oh my gosh. That's a real thing.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
real thing. So to be
Yeah.
able to, for people to say, I'm willing to sit down with you all and tell you my story and
Yeah.
encourage people, that is just, I don't care who it is. I agree with you. Like, listen, you out there doing the things,
Yes.
you're willing to be honest and say, one of the things, just going back to Haria, she's like, I don't think I have it all figured out. And it's like, yes, girl, you ain't alone.
Right. But we out here trying and we're watching you do your thing and gives us more inspiration to like make the steps, right? Because we realize it's not unattainable. It's definitely attainable. So yeah.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. And so we just want to continue to, we want to hear from our audience. What do
Yes.
you want to hear?
Yeah.
What type of guests would you like to hear? What topics do you
Yeah.
want us to cover? We love hearing from our guests about that. And to our listeners, we just say thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thank you for giving us your time. We know we over
Yes.
here cackling, having a good old time, but we just give grateful to you guys for just taking a listen and hopefully it's been edifying you in the way that we intend.
Okay. So we're gonna get into some fun stuff for us. Because sometimes, we give the guests the fun stuff, but now
Ooh,
it's time for our fun stuff. So if you can
yeah.
describe this season in one word, what would it
Hmm.
be?
Hmm. Oh boy, that's a
Ooh,
tricky
hot
one.
seat.
Do, 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 do. Okay. This season in one word. Hmm. Mom? Oh, I can't even do it in one word. I could do it in multiple words. Okay.
Okay, we'll take it.
Um, I'm gonna say, can I do two words?
Yes.
Do it. That's it.
Oh,
Do it. Because that's really was I feel like that was the theme. Like they were like, do it. Just I've seen it in everybody from Christina to Coca, Moo, do it. Brooklyn, do it. It's just like do it.
do it, do it, do it, do it.
You know, if I can do
Do
it,
it,
do it.
do
Yeah.
it, do it.
Okay. Exactly. That's what I had. Just two words. I couldn't do one. Sorry.
That's okay. Um, Man, and now that's so good. I almost want to
I know
steal it.
you because you hear it because you know it. It's do it.
That it's
That's it.
true. Do do it.
Do
Um,
the thing.
I agree with that. And I think
Yeah.
the other thing I would say is lean. Lean
Yeah.
in.
Oh. Okay.
Um,
Oh, that's a good
lean
one.
in and lean on.
Mm-hmm.
So use your community. I don't want to say use your community, but
But
be
no,
in,
yes.
but be
Yes.
inspired by your community. Find strength in your community and also be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Open yourself up to saying, "Hey, I need help. I have needs." Um, and recognizing that it's okay,
Yeah.
you know. But that do it, I'm sorry, that do it hit hard. I was thinking about Christina's episode again, just how her story was transformed. Like
Yeah.
God told her to do something and she did.
Yeah.
And that moment
Yeah.
changed everything for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was the beginning of something different. And then I'll just say this last one, because now I realize I've said a lot more words, but dream big. And it goes
Yeah.
to something that again, that Christina said when she's meeting with her
Our
clients,
clients.
and she says she just gives them space to dream, to
I
use their
love that.
imagination.
Yeah.
And sometimes we squelch that, we squash that, like
Yeah.
"Mm,"
With facts and the
with
situation.
facts.
That's your homework now, listeners. Journal. That's your
Yes.
homework. Journal something, dream big. Like the biggest. Because and then the Bible says he would, and I'm just paraphrasing, he will exceed our expectations, right?
Ooh.
Right? So like we're thinking, oh, God can only do this much, right? You dream, and when you dream, but he could do like over that. And like we've seen it in our lives so many times. I'm sure we all have testimonies. Like we said, okay, we want this one thing, and God say, oh yeah, that's nice. I got this and some. And
Mm,
so, dream big. Don't be afraid to dream big. Oh, that's
yeah.
what I'm about to do some dreaming today. Big.
Ooh.
Because it's to expand. Because once you've gotten to a certain point, like yes, you had goals and you get to one. Okay, now what's the dream big? Expand. Let's go higher. Let's go.
So I'm gonna flip this. I'm gonna say dream big, do it.
Okay.
Those are
There
our
we
four,
go.
those are our four words
Yeah.
to encapsulate the season. Dream big and then do it.
Yeah. All right.
That's it. um, and then that's our advice. That's our advice for creative moms. Journal
Yeah.
that, dream
Yeah.
big, and then write down how you're going to do it. And that's for
Yeah.
us too, especially going into 2025. Like
Yes.
there's a shift.
We already
Okay.
started. Kelly and I have been on this workout plan. Like I know it might see something like something small, but just even that, I've seen how just getting out there and putting in the work has done something for my mental, not just the clarity,
Yes.
but it feels like I feel so much stronger because I'm doing the thing. I'm hitting the goals and I'm going beyond the goals. And I feel good. I'm like, yes, I didn't realize how much, you talk about dopamine, talking about it makes you happy and all that stuff, right? But I'm thinking about like I didn't realize how much of a mental workout it is to say, okay, you have to do this, and then building up to it, and then when you achieve the goal, you're like, oh, I did that.
Yeah.
That's a whole different type of achievement and happiness. So, yeah, do it, dream big, do it. We
Yeah.
started, we're gonna keep going.
That's it. That's it. So thank you so much again for joining us on this season 3. What a journey. We'll be
Yeah,
bringing back season 4. I can't believe
yeah,
this.
I know.
Woo, y'all, if you pray, please pray for us, okay? Because this is a lot. It's a
And
lot.
pray for help. We want some more. You definitely want to get some moms on here to help us in the background. We got a small team, but we definitely want to expand that team.
Yes, we do. We definitely
Yeah.
do. So we will see you in season 4. Keep connected on our social media, on our
Yeah.
Instagram, on our Facebook. Catch up
Yeah.
with previous seasons. If you missed season 1 or 2, or you're just now finding us and you're just
Mhm.
now seeing that we're out there, go ahead and
Yeah.
check out our first, second, third seasons.
Yes.
Get inspired to
Yeah.
dream big and to do those things. So again, thank you so very much for listening in. And if you enjoyed this episode or any of our other episodes, share it with a friend. If you
Yeah.
have a question or if you have a comment, just send us an email at the ProCreatives Podcast at gmail.com, or send us a DM. DMs are open,
Yeah.
baby.
Yes,
So
honey.
we're here for the questions, comments, and even the concerns if you got them.
Yes.
But again, thank you for listening, and we shall see you in season 4.
Next time, season 4 later.